This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. So what I wanted to explain that this meeting is not a public hearing, which means the rules are relaxed. So this is a conversation, unless you go on and on and on, and then I'll say, okay, we've heard from you. We will at the end formally take any comments under the 3-minute rule, okay? But this is really an opportunity for city council, city government to hear from the residents most impacted. And I know this issue's been going on for a long time. A long time. You guys know it's been going on longer than I know. So we thought, the council thought the best thing to do is honestly to just share, here's where we are, here's what we're thinking about. What do you think? What are you thinking about? And then we'll work on a solution. Because we really, I bet just as much as you all, we'd like this issue put to bed because it's been not put to bed for too long. So that's the goal. Okay, so I will need you to come up to the mic so that we have the record of your name, but don't feel under that hearing rule. This is a conversation in the community living room. All right, we want to hear from folks. Here's what I thought we should start with. Our city engineer is going to give a very brief background. There are some maps up of surveying we've just done recently. Your community is, as you know, 1927, you're about 100 years old. So there are old maps, things have changed, boundary lines have been adjusted from others. So Andrew's going to just go through some basics and some broad environmental issues. And then Alex, the city solicitor, is going to go through the city's thought process on interior alleys and exterior, because they really have different functions in terms of the city. And then we're just going to talk to one another, okay? And we want to hear. So that's how I'd like to run this meeting. So again, it's a public input session, not a hearing. We need to hear from all of you. Councilman Elder is on his way. Councilman Ritzert is going to try to be online. He's online. Okay, so and Joe is coming from this pole barn that he's building forever. Okay, but he's going to be coming in soon. So with that, I'll turn over to Andrew Lyons.
Okay, this is Andrew Lyons with GMB. Of course, as the mayor said, your community is quite old. 1927 is the original map of when it was recorded with the county. We were contracted by the city to survey everything that is out there now and provide a drawing. As you can see between the two surveys, the 1927 is actually in black background with white. A lot of the parcels have been combined, so there's a lot of changes from when that happened. Also, one of the environmental issues that is out there, or potential issues with the alleys, is the Smith branch, which was out there on looking at the 1927 map, goes behind what was lots 13 through 21, and is very close to where the alley is supposed to be. Now that is a natural branch that's never really been channelized, and that floodway, which is still there, tends to capture the runoff. So it being a natural branch with a floodway, typically you will see that breach its existing banks during heavy storms. As we all know, we're getting more intense storms now. So we did want to bring that to everybody's attention also.
And Andrew, you've had quite an experience knowing the environment of this community, is that right?
Yes, we've looked at some of this area for the last 2 decades.
Okay. All right, so the natural way that flow and flooding happens, increases or not. Okay, but you're communicating that it's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away. It is doing how it works in nature.
Okay.
Right now, it's not been channelized by man.
Okay.
Or designed by anybody.
And then your firm did that recent survey.
We did the recent survey.
Okay, great. And so I'm going to turn to Alex. Let's start with interior alleys, because that's where the city's biggest interest is, quite honestly, because we want to be able to get your trash and your recycling.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. So going off what Andrew just said, back in June of 1927, this property, which makes up current Debris Circle, was transferred to the Sussex Trust Company. Sorry about that. So back in June 1927, the property which makes up present day Debris Circle was transferred to the Sussex Trust Company. the Sussex Trust Company subdivided the parcel, recorded the plot map, which is in black, as Andrew mentioned. And thereafter, just a couple months later, in September 1927, the Sussex Trust Company recorded a deed of dedication conveying each street shown on the 1927 map to the city of Lewis. And so since that time, the city has never abandoned, vacated, or closed any alleys. And notably, the city continues to utilize the interior alley to provide city services such as trash collection. So there are a few different options. There are three general buckets. Option one would be to do nothing, maintaining the status quo.
You mean for the interior or the exterior alleys?
For the interior,
Okay.
for the project.
For the whole project?
For the whole
Okay.
project, yes. We could
Okay.
just maintain the status quo. The consequence of that is that it doesn't really move the ball forward at all. There could be disputes that would persist and uncertainty in the future. And the second option would be some flavor of the city vacating its interest in the alleyways. Could be interior or exterior alleys. And there's a legal process under the charter. The city could formally relinquish its legal interest in the alleys. And then the third general bucket would be that the city could assert an interest in either the interior or exterior alleys. So those are the general buckets we could look
Okay.
at.
Okay.
And obviously there's use for the interior alleys in the city's view. And it's different than the exterior alleys.
So let's start for a second with the interior alleys. The city is interested to keep those, the responsibility. I would think you guys are too, but we'll need to hear from you. What would, and that's again for trash and recycling. What does that mean? What would we have to do legally in the court system so this is done and finished and future communities know it's finished and completed? So there's no confusion. What would be the steps we'd have to take?
So in a case when there's a dispute over ownership in Delaware, there's a court of chancery which looks at equitable issues such as ownership, and the court could order who owns the parcel or the property, the alleyway, once and for all. And so that would be a quiet title petition filed by the city. There would be ample public notice for anyone potentially claiming interest, and that could be resolved within a matter of months.
Okay, so the city could just take that action. All right, so let's put that on hold for a second and let's go to the exterior alleys. Okay, so for the exterior, it's the same scenarios. We could have status quo, which looks like confusion, chaos to me personally. That nothing, we're not solving a problem. We're just saying we'll cope with it, which is problematic for you all. I think it's problematic for if you want to do anything with those alleys and also when you sell your property. So status quo is an option, but laissez-faire is valuable sometimes, but perhaps not in this case. Okay, so that's one option, just stay as is. Second option has other pieces to it.
So
If the city said, we're out of here, like if we're going to vacate.
right, so there's several different flavors of that action. The city could abandon its interest under the charter. There's a process.
Okay.
The city would appoint a committee of commissioners, similar to an annexation committee.
Okay,
3 or more council persons to examine the pros and cons of abandoning the interest the city has in that property. And perhaps the city could offer quitclaim deeds, which are the lowest form of a deed that can convey ownership. It's essentially saying whatever I own, you receive, and you don't promise that you own anything.
so if we took that option, and if I'm sitting on that side of this room and I'm interested, what would I have to do as a property owner? So if the city said, we're going to vacate, go through this process that Alex just described, but I live in that community and I'm interested, what would I have to do as a property owner?
So that process would require a public hearing, and anyone who has an interest could assert that interest at that time, but essentially nothing would be required.
So if they want to, so because we would have vacated through the process, there's a public hearing by each property? or,
No, there would be one public hearing
Public
in
hearing?
general for the city's interest.
okay,
The city could explore the possibility of offering quitclaim deeds to the owners abutting those alleyways,
okay,
and essentially conveying whatever interest the city may have in those alleyways to the property owners.
okay. So if I'm that property owner, city has vacated and I want to sell my land. Would I have to, I meaning the property owner, have to have it resurveyed? What would I have to do to make sure title companies understood that that was really mine and not the city's? Or is it just because we vacated, it is de facto not ours?
Right, there would be nothing required to be done. I can't
Okay.
speak for the title companies, what they might seek to have or a potential buyer would require, but essentially there would be no immediate action required.
And if a neighbor to another neighbor disagreed, that happens, that would be the neighbor's responsibilities. Is that right? Like what, if we vacated, then it's up to neighbors doing
Right.
boundary line adjustments or whatever else they would do?
Essentially, there would be one less voice in the room. The city would not be involved.
Okay. Is there anything else this crowd needs to know before they come and talk to us?
I would just say that any decision would require ample public notice, and any decision on the city's behalf would be conveyed to everyone.
Okay. Okay. So that's a framework. You might have other ideas, but that's a framework. So what I would love to do now is just come up. If you're not able physically to come up, Blue, we have a microphone you could bring, just raise your hand and Blue will bring a microphone over to you. Again, say your name and address so we have it for the record, but I would love to hear some feedback. So just raise your hand or come on up for it. Sure, come right for it. And there's microphone here at the podium, or you could sit, or Blue or Ashley can come to you with
I
us.
think I'm loud enough.
Okay,
So I'm Greg Wood and I represent the Hocker family
Okay.
that owns 43 Degree Circle and a lot behind. The alley separates the property.
okay,
We would like to sell the property. I cannot do it because nobody could get a mortgage on the entire parcel. And it doesn't make sense to sell the piece behind.
mhm,
Now, this family has owned that property 70 plus years.
okay,
Their grandparents owned 4 lots next to them, which Candace and Adrian now own that parcel. It's 4 lots. So that alley has never been used. In 1993, Chancery Court awarded the Stanball family, which has the parcel at the other end of
Mhm.
the alley, a quitclaim deed.
okay,
At that time, basically, the city said they had no claim to it. I think Mrs. Moore had a quitclaim deed, decided she didn't want it. And at that time, Chancery Court awarded the Stanballs that property. That effectively took that alley out.
Okay.
So for 70 plus years, we've maintained the property and got nothing from the city in return, except a headache in trying to get ownership of this.
right, right,
So I think the fact that, to me, it's been an abandoned alley, was never utilized like the one in the center. And I believe there've been 3 other quitclaim deeds awarded to consecutive lots from the Stanballs.
mhm,
So I think it would, in all fairness, the city ought to relinquish the lots on our side and Candace and Adrian's side as well.
okay, all right. That's helpful.
Good.
Yeah, come on forward. And council, then again, this is not a hearing, so you can ask questions back and forth to any citizen. This is a dialogue, okay?
Not talk, but here I am. I'm Marva Heckert. We have half of 11, 13, 15, and 17.
Can you
Lots-
get a little closer to the mic
The
so
lots
those
that
in
get
line can,
flooded.
you might want to go to the podium.
Okay.
And again, just give us your address.
Okay, so we have half of lot 11, all of 13, 15, and 17. So the flooding you're talking about, we're very well aware of that, but that's not what I'm here to talk about.
Okay,
We also have the situation that he mentioned. We have the so-called alley in between our 2 lots. And that is a problem too if we want to sell. The lot that we bought behind the alley is non-buildable. So there's literally nowhere for that little strip of land to go. Supposedly there were quitclaim deeds on both sides of us. And so there's this little strip of land that the city claims that's in the middle of both of our properties that is pointless. So we would love for the city to vacate that because it absolutely does no good to have it,
Mhm.
except for us to have a clear strip of land there.
Sure.
And you mentioned a public hearing. We've had an attorney for 2 years working on this and have gotten nowhere. So I don't know how to move that forward.
That's partly why we are here. Council agrees that this has got to get addressed.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, come up to the microphone when you're speaking, but feel free to. You're finished? Okay, all right.
I didn't plan to speak. I was just listening because I don't know who, but all I know is
Just give your name, please, and address.
Jenny Mall, 5 DeVries Circle. Because we have an alley right behind our thing. And at one point they sent us a letter about paying $10 a month to use the my driveway, which I don't feel I should have to do.
I'm sorry,
this.
who sent you that letter?
Who sent the letter?
I'm not sure when we were. We got it from the
From the
city.
city, okay.
And because this has been going on since I was in high school, when Warren and Mary Lee had that house and was
Sure. Yep.
building it for her son, their son, and then Tim had it, and it's been going on for ages, and I'm tired of it. I don't know how. I mean, I've been out of high school for 30-some years, and I feel like I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we go to sell, I mean, I'm trying to keep the house in my family. But, if we do have to sell, how do I tell the potential buyers, well, you're still gonna be dealing with people trying to use the alley and all that mess and.
Yeah.
Something's gotta be done.
Something's got to be done. That's
I don't
exactly
know
what
what
I'm
the solution is.
No, but
Y'all can
that's-
come up with it, but
Yep.
I just wanna be able to use my driveway to clean out my garage and do whatever I need to do. And it-
Sure.
I even also had talked about mom about switching, if we can switch our garage away and have a driveway built in there, because when the town apparently redid the sidewalks and stuff like that, everybody got a letter. We never did, or we would have done it back then. So I need to talk to somebody about having a driveway back there like my neighbor has.
We need to
And
make,
then I wouldn't even have to use the alley.
okay, so we need to make sure that, but you did get did you get the letter from us, the certified letter? Everybody who's here is here because you
We
got it,
Yeah.
and you did get the letter. Okay, so good.
So. yeah,
In
that-
fact, let's double check. How many letters were any returned? Where are we in terms of, is this our crowd?
Certified return receipt letters were sent to all of the properties on DeVries Circle as
Okay.
well as to their tax bill address.
Okay, and if we
So
had,
we've not had any return
Okay,
when you look at
okay.
both.
well, that's good. So we reached most. All right, other comments? Sharon, you want a microphone? Ashley, can you bring a microphone up to Sharon in the white jacket?
I'm kind of like to know how this all.
Sharon, even though we all know you, you still have to, for the record, say your name and address.
8 degree circle. Why does Alex want if he owns his property? Somebody explain, let's go back.
Yeah, it was.
Do you want to address this?
I don't know.
It's a question that you see on some maps. I don't know the answer to that.
That's
But
the root of the problem, isn't it?
well, it might be the root of the problem, but it sounds, solicitor, that we have record that it is
So we
to the
looked
city.
at all the titles and it traces back to the 1927 plat map. It seems that a quitclaim deed came out of thin air essentially. And the city's position would be that that quitclaim deed is ineffective.
So the city is really saying, right now, as of today, we have ownership of the interior and exterior alleys. Okay,
I'm not in favor of the city abandoning
of abandoning the
the alleys.
interior and exterior?
Yeah, well, let me just speak about interior. because
Let's do the interior, because that's where we pick up, and I don't think the city wants to really, we'd like to keep those. That's where we are as council right now.
Agreed.
Unless we heard something differently, it's really more the exterior that we don't have a real need for it. So it seems like you all do. So why wouldn't we give that to you? But the interior council's like, no, we would need to keep that because we've got to keep doing our public service.
We know that people have paid him for that little strip behind their house,
Okay,
and that's
okay.
not,
Not palatable, sure.
thanks.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
I have a question. I had heard from one of the residents in DeVries that they may actually be getting county taxes on both of the lots, and one of the lots that's a lot in question. So that means on the tax maps for the county, you're paying for that lot, and you have been for many years. How many of you are getting tax bills from the county? That complicates it even more.
But are you saying on the alley, Joe, is that what you're saying?
Yes, they're
On the alleys.
paying, they have two. Can someone explain how it's affecting them?
Yeah, please.
Because I think that's very critical that you've been paying for it all these years,
You're
but
right.
you can't use it.
Yeah.
Marie Robertson, I'm 59 degrees. I bought the property in 2019, and at that time, part of it was an unbeknownst, but then my realtor got wind of that, the alleyway, and that there was a quick deed. So to ensure, I paid a small sum, but the people I bought the house from, they paid this Alex Moore, is it? 15 grand. 15 grand. And he was, and it's not the only homeowners that happened to. But then the whole thing started probably 2021, when he sent out packets to everybody on DeVries again, saying that he would offer to sell them again. So with that, I have the original quick deed. It's in record in Georgetown, but I've been paying taxes and insurance, and I'm on the exterior, so I have that 10-foot wide.
And you
Right.
pay
And
taxes on it.
I pay taxes on this that runs the length of my property. And I maintain it. There's no garbage back there.
Right.
I make sure it's landscaped, and my landscaper takes care of it. But then on the other side of that, my neighbors behind me, and then what was it, a couple of years ago, when they put out, the city put out an affidavit of ownership, and it had a litany of all these things that basically you sign this, but you had no rights to it. And if something happened on that alleyway in insurance, somebody could sue me personally, not the city. So that's a little history, and I fell into this 6 years ago. And but this thing started again. I mean, I have all the paperwork. I don't know if any of you still have the paperwork that I guess it's Alex Moore had sent the packet and encouraging people to buy these parcels. And here's the other thing. What about this poor couple that paid 15 grand to him, and they don't even own it? I don't even own it now, and the quick deed and I've been paying all the taxes and the insurance.
Right. Yeah.
So does someone told me that they actually have two drawings. And they pay taxes on both, but they can't build on the one that they're paying taxes on, even though they are paying taxes on it. And
One bit.
So and come on up to the mic, if we vacated the exterior alleys, if we did, Alex, what happens, or Ellen Lorraine, what happens to these residents if we vacate? Are they de facto taxed, or is it in limbo unless they claim the alley? What happens?
So it depends exactly what we want to do, as far as one possibility would be to offer quitclaim deeds to the individuals abutting the alley for the section of alley that abuts their property line. In that case, they would own.
They'd own the whole thing.
If they accept that quitclaim deed, they would own it.
Okay, if they don't accept the quitclaim deed and we vacate in this no man's land, what does the county do? And what does the city do? Who do we tax? If they didn't take it in a quitclaim and we vacate, we don't tax them, right?
Correct.
What would the county do?
Maintain status.
Maintain status. Maintain status mean they would continue to bill these folks for property.
They would bill the property owner.
They would bill the property owner.
For
So
that
we'd have
portion.
to have a step there with the county if we took that approach. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Beth Hyde at 63 DeVries, and I also said I wasn't going to say anything today, but since my first question, since we're just having a
We're just
conversation.
having a living room conversation.
So does this meeting, since we're having a conversation that includes the exterior alley, I can certainly wait for a meeting. I thought there might be a separate meeting about the exterior alley.
No, we're
for the
trying to
letter.
do it all.
We're trying to do it
This
all.
is it. Yep,
Okay,
we're
well
trying to
then,
get your input.
then here I am. So just to kind of piggyback on what Marie said with Alex Moore, because I was there when my neighbors bought the alley bought it from Alex Moore for $15,000, and we were like, oh my gosh. But then the irony is he was trying to sell it because it seems like he was buying the same parcel again, because did he approach you about buying it, or to everybody asking to, so he was just sending out feelers, I think, and I can't speak on his behalf, but
Right.
just, I feel like we received communication several times from him saying, are you ready to buy your alley? So to complicate things just a little bit more, my kind of underlying question too is whose kind of perception of the survey supersedes the other between the city and the county? Because when we bought our house 24 years ago, apparently the previous owner had also, I don't know that she purchased it from Alex Moore, but she had somehow secured that alley as part of our survey, because when we went to put up a fence, for example, the county has that alley as part of our survey. It's included.
Yes.
And the city also agreed and gave us a permit, and we put up our fence. So that portion of the alley, and I'm loath to even say this in public, but here I am. Our fence, we have that fenced in.
Right.
So we have had that as part of our yard and, maintained, and the neighbor behind us on School Lane, which is another kind of concern that I would have if the city decides to vacate. Then do people on School Lane, or for our other neighbors, maybe Drake Knoll or whomever, does that kind of complicate things? Or is this considered the DeVries Circle alley? So whomever, if the city were to vacate that, would the residents of DeVries Circle have,
You have a lot of good questions. So
those are all my questions.
they're good. No,
I'm here
that's-
whenever
no.
you need.
Let's go through the first one. So we have a survey that's current. What's the rule of law if a county has a survey that differs with a city survey? Who wins on that process?
So the county's map is, it illustrates, it's an evolving document.
Okay.
There's errors all the time in the county's document. So it's not it depends what the court says. It's not what the county document says.
Okay. And could we, as one of the steps, Ellen Lorraine and Alex, send a note to the county that just says, hey, county, this is a current map and we have differences.
Yes,
and work
we
that
can do
out?
that. Yes, we
Okay,
can do
and I
that.
assume it's done a lot.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the first part. What you're hearing is government to government, there's a process to handle that. Okay. Going on to, and I'm not going to really address a person that's been sending out bills to all of you just yet, okay?
We haven't got one in a little while.
Okay, all right, but we're asserting that these are our alleys. Just want to reiterate that. Okay, so they're dealing with us, right? As best we know. Okay. So your other question about what about your neighboring? At this point, this is DeVries only, correct? So we're trying to solve the DeVries problem. You're raising a point that, the Drake Knoll people, the others might have some implication, but we're trying to solve your problem today.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the focus.
So one last question then, and again, just since this is my opportunity to ask this question, for the few people maybe in the room who, upon purchasing a house, the survey that we got that said that this was included, I don't want to open Pandora's box, but I feel like that would also maybe, am I wrong, call into some question about like during that settlement, like what happens back. Is there any kind of legal process with realtors, settlement attorneys, that kind of thing, if you bought something that was somehow not
Yeah, good question. Alex?
vetted?
There absolutely could be. It depends on how this process all plays out. I'm not exactly sure. Sometimes for example, when DelDOT owns a highway or a road and they vacate it, one of the options, the standard is for DelDOT to give the abutting property owners on each side half and half. I don't think that's been brought up yet as a possibility because we're talking about just DeVries Circle,
Right.
not
Okay.
School Lane and the
Right.
neighboring property. So I think it's an important question you need to figure out.
I also think it sounds like no matter what all gets resolved here, then the city owes some documentation to each of these property owners based on whatever we all collectively, so that you have it in your records for your property, so that you don't have to have a different mayor and council having a different perspective. So, you know, my idea is that we got to address this and then we got to tie it up with a bow, and it's got to be a tight bow so that you all have records that protect you. So that would be an action depending, but you know, depending on what we all decide as a group and council finally decides.
Okay.
Are there any other comments? And if you think of more, come back up. I mean, this isn't, you're not on a clock.
Yeah, my only comment then would be thank you for your consideration of abandoning the exterior alleys, and I will fade into the
Okay.
audience.
Candace, come on up.
Good afternoon, and thank you for addressing this issue. Candace Vasella, 53 DeVries Circle. So this question, I think, is for Alex. In the conversation and the quitclaim deed to the property, the owners abutting the alley. So I'm going to go back to the question of School Lane and entitlement by those property owners versus the DeVries Circle property owners. My property, I did not acquire the alley. The alley shown on my plats shows that it is not mine, and I built to those specifications of 10 feet is not mine over there. How does School Lane property owners affect the question of if the city abandons the alley? How does that play out and work?
So on the original DeVries Circle plat from 1927, obviously School Lane was not in existence at that time. So the alley essentially could only be part of DeVries Circle. It wouldn't be part of School Lane. And the city could, it seems from reviewing the records that the city has the superior title to the alley. So if the city was willing to offer a quitclaim deed to the property owner on DeVries Circle, abutting the alley, that would clear up the issue.
Thank you very much.
Good. We're gonna have, go ahead and then, all right. Nope, you're good. You're good.
Hi, Julie Burkhaw at 65 DeVries Circle. And I have a couple of questions. First of all, can you explain a quitclaim deed?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead, Alex. I mean, I can. Alex can.
So essentially it's conveying whatever ownership interest you have to the recipient of the quitclaim deed. It's used sometimes in family law or just to clear up questions about title. It's not guaranteeing that you're giving full title to someone. So in a standard residential settlement, you would not use a quitclaim deed because it's just saying whatever I own, here you go.
Okay. When we purchased our property, we got two deeds. One to our, to the house and the surrounding property, and one to the alley property. And our lawyer at the time, Bill Schaub, who has been studying this forever, said, this is your deed, but there's something about it and it's kind of unresolved, but this is yours. So about 3 or 4 years later, we wanted to replace our shed, the famous shed. And it's been an ongoing issue. We cannot replace it because the current shed somehow was allowed to be built in the alley. It goes over the alley by maybe 3 or 4 feet. So we've been waiting for 3 years to replace our shed, which is such a small deal in my mind, but apparently it's not. So if we got a quick claim, how is that different from this little deed that we already have?
So it would bolster the deed you already have because the city, obviously there's some dispute over ownership of this area. So the city wouldn't be able to offer anything more than a quitclaim deed and guarantee that the city owns it unless there was a court order saying definitely the city owns it.
So if we vacate and that shed needs to be rebuilt, she would still have to come to the city for a permit because it's a structure, but you would not be having this.
But I would get the.
But you would get the permit. Okay, right, you get the permit because we're not an owner. We're just saying, yes, do you want to build a shed? And then it's all the setback rules and everything else, of course. It's whatever the rules are. But we'd be out of the game of saying we own that land. So
Okay.
this could get resolved.
Okay,
Right.
that would be wonderful. And thank you, as everyone else had said. Thank you for considering this because it's.
Absolutely, no, absolutely.
I'm Marilyn Carpenter, 48. I'd like to speak about the interior.
Okay.
We're hoping the city will continue to maintain the interior. We know that we have garbage and everything that comes down there. What we need is for the city to maintain it a little bit better.
Yep.
We need some gravel put down.
Right.
Our house borders two sides of it. We have the back and then we have the side that goes out to Debris Circle. And so we do need gravel. We do need the city to maintain that interior.
Okay. Lorraine, we haven't, as the city has not added to that gravel for quite a long time, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, several years ago, I think, I don't know, Linda, whether they started at the other end of it and
Okay.
they laid down a little gravel. In fact, my husband walked down to talk to them and they said, oh, well, we might be back with the trucks are all in front of the gravel and but they never came
They never
back.
came back.
So we do need gravel put down. We have potholes, we have rain that collects back there and stuff.
Okay. So Andrew, we have a capital improvement plan for the city. It's a 10-year plan, but then we have this part of it that's like maintenance thing. So if we keep the interior, I mean, I know the city manager has felt the same way, then if we keep it, then we need to maintain it. So this would go into that CIP plan, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Okay. No, thank you for that. That's helpful to know. You've been so patient. Would you like to come forward?
Just a little bit of history of Debris Circle. When Debris Circle came about, I have a
Rick, you
1939.
gotta provide your name and address.
Oh, okay. I'm Rick Sims, 3133 Debris Circle, since 1980. Bought the house from Griff Warren, who owned the house that Beth lives in currently, was our school teacher. Debris Circle, and according to this 1939 aerial map, there were 3 structures in Debris Circle. It was the duplex that the Mayor Stango lived in, Candace Vasella, where she currently lives now, which was a Papsiak property, and Charlie Howard's mother's house, where it's 1 Debris Circle, where Joanne Brittingham. So the origin of Debris Circle was an inner circle and an outer circle. They were 50-foot front lots because there was not on-street parking for all the exterior lots. So there was a proposed alley behind those, like the malls and other properties that did not have access. So their garage, if you go behind their homes, the garage door faces to the west. After the years went by, such as Dr. Heckert's, a lot of the properties started buying 2 or 3 lots at a time. So the exterior alley became a moot point at that time. Welcome Alley went behind those properties that did not have access on those. The inner part, the T that we refer to, is a no-brainer. The city ought to own that. The 2 people on the interior circle have no need for that alley other than city resources. So with that said, the exterior alleys The only reason I thought I owned the alley behind my house is my neighbor at the time were the Cowans. He wanted to put an addition on the back of his house, and he needed a variance. He was gonna have to get a variance from the city. The so-called owner of the property at the time were the Moores, and he went to Alex, and Alex agreed to sell him, which was allowed to be done. But he said, I will not sell you the property unless you take the alley behind Rick's house. So Bill came to me and said, I don't need to own a 10-foot strip of property behind your house. So he wrote me a thing for $1. Went to the county, recorded it. I've been paying taxes to the county since 1992 on a piece of property that apparently I do not own. So I guess I only have a couple questions. I did get the lease agreement in 2017 from the lawyers. Is there a copy available of the 1927 dedication?
Yes, we do have.
Okay.
Just the mic. We have.
There's also currently, there was supposed to have been a survey done.
The recent survey, are you talking the one that's on the board here? That's done by GMB?
That's the most recent one. I think that was done, and I got that in.
Andrew, when was that survey done?
That was done this year.
This year. So this survey
Yeah.
was done this year.
So there is I saw no stakes behind the house or no.
No, we didn't put in any stakes in. We were just getting what was there and then looking through all the county records for what is there now compared to what was there in 1927.
The other thing, according to my neighbor, Dave Hartman. Dave Hartman lived on 37 Degrees Circle, old sea captain icon of Lewis for many, many years. And he gave me history, but it's hearsay history of how the properties, the alleys, the common areas, and the property that abuts Drake Knoll were acquired. And the story that he told me was that the senior Moore, Mr. Moore, owned the property that between the Armory and now known as Drake Knoll. And there was a large piece of common area there that DeVries Circle did not need. So he went to Mr. Marshall, the developer of DeVries Circle. He said, what are your intentions with the common areas? He said, I have no intentions that the common areas ought to go to the property owners. So Mr. Moore, apparently, the story went that he went and filed a quick claim, which is part of Drake Knoll today, which was owned by DeVries Circle. Probably no recordings, no history of that. But that's how Drake Knoll became about. And that's how Alex, the great-grandson, decided that he owned. So Mrs. Rickards, who also had lived in DeVries Circle for many, many, many years, and a bunch of widow ladies, when we moved there, we were the first people moved into DeVries Circle that had kids. All the widow ladies were very happy, very happy. And they called me, Mrs. Parker, Mrs. Brittingham, all the widow ladies called me, said, Alex has sent us all letters saying he wants to have a meeting and sell us these properties behind our house. What do you think we ought to do? I said, I think you ought to send a letter back to Alex and saying, we've lived here since X amount of time. We would like for you to maintain them, and we would like compensation for the last 20, 30 years that we have maintained them. So with that said, that's kind of just a little brief history of Lewis.
That's a great.
I don't think
in the making of.
I don't think the city really wants to own 10 or 11 feet behind my property. There's no need. I mean, I'm between the bike trail and my property, and I think it'll get resolved. Like I said, I do pay county taxes, but I never filed the claim with the city. My fault, not the city's fault. So thank you for entertaining this meeting, but that's kind of how DeVries Circle went about.
Thank you.
Went to see the 1939
Yeah,
aerial.
it's great.
There it is.
Thank you. That history is so interesting. Other comments? Yes, come back up.
To say something they said, a lot of people that have garages off the interior, so we need to maintain that, right?
Right.
We need to maintain that because of all the people with.
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
We need that to the back.
Yeah, exactly. So the interior, let's go, the interior alleys, like a show of hands. We're not making a vote here today. For have the city maintain that and have the city officially on record own it and maintain it. Is that the interest of the community? Yes? Yes? And if you're opposed to that, can you tell us why you'd be opposed on the interior only? Any reason? Okay. All right. So that gives us some, that's, go ahead. Yes, come on forward. Pardon me? Can you come up to the mic so we can all hear you and those online?
No.
You have to come to
Yeah,
a mic because there are
online.
people online. That's why you have to be on a microphone. We can hear you, but people online can't. Thank you.
Yeah, well, anyway,
And your name and address.
George Williams, 9 DeVries Circle. We've lived there for 15 years. And we have an alley. It's a dead end alley, but at the end of the alley, we have a garage.
Mhm.
Some of the other people also have a garage. It dead ends, and we need to have the city keep it so we can get our cars in the garages that were there when we bought the homes. So I don't know how a quick claim would work in an alley when maybe you have to depend on your neighbor. Can I drive through the property that you own? Because we have garages and we use them for our cars.
Sure.
And also maintenance and all kinds of other things. So that was really my only question
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
So for a small percentage, if someone is accessing their garage through another property, and if we're out of the business on this, what do they do?
So we could, for the exterior alleys, right?
Right, up to a microphone, a little closer. Hear you.
Yeah, welcome alley.
Yeah.
So
It's landlocked from your.
It's landlocked from
Yeah,
your
so-
property, right?
He's gone so far as to.
I'm on file with the city. Police records, problems with the alley being blocked. Lawyers sending us notices. We can't use the alley. We bought the house with the garage separate from the house. We're all on file with our complaints with a particular person that has done this to us, frankly.
Okay,
And it has not been any fun.
no, of course not. So that's an,
For anybody else with a garage that has to have the alley to go through, it was there when we bought the home separate. Yeah.
So can all of you get to your garages now, or some cannot get to
No.
them? How many of you cannot get to your garages?
so it's a certain percentage have to drive across someone else's.
We have to go to Welcome
it's
Alley
that
and
one
take a
spot,
left and
right?
come down and go to our
All right,
garage.
so
We
we-
have to have access.
We got to look at that one side a little differently because of this situation. So it's not a perfect answer across everyone. We'll have to look at those properties and figure out. I mean, I don't know what those, one of the options could be, we don't vacate that, so it's still city, and then we tell the property owners they have to have access. I don't know. Well, but I'm so appreciative. It's that one part that we have to look at so that you get access. But they're both sides of that argument. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
a
what I
lot of
heard.
people need access for their garages and
Sure.
their health and service and all kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
No,
Great, thanks.
that's helpful.
I don't know if this is a helpful suggestion that perhaps, have you been to DeVries Circle
Mhm.
and walked the properties?
I haven't
And-
walked, but I've been to DeVries Circle
Okay,
often. Yeah, I think we need to,
you
right?
know, do a walkabout
Yeah.
and see what with the garages and the maintenance, but also the exterior alleyways and how that strip of land where we're maintaining it and paying taxes on it, but how it affects individual owners.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
just so.
Can we schedule a walkabout while we're here and put it on the calendar, do you think?
Well, that's if a majority of us walk about, it's a public meeting. So what I would say is we would send our city engineer and our city manager designee to do that walkabout, okay? Because then you don't have to have a public meeting. All right.
Okay.
But we would let you know. Yes, of course.
We'll go with you.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Great. Elnrain, can we put that on you to coordinate that? And I'm not saying the council doesn't want to go, Joe, but the fact
We
is
might not be able to vote if we all go, no?
we can't even all go That's
Because
a
it's
public
a public
meeting.
meeting.
But we've got delegates. Our city manager can do this with our city engineer and lets them know. I mean, we just got to get the data. And I like the city engineer, and Alex, maybe you want to be on that walkabout. Okay,
Because I swear, built this fast on our land.
okay. So let's just go over that. The city manager will coordinate that. The city engineer will go for two reasons. One, looking at your survey, but also looking at the maintenance of the interior. The city attorney will go to understand the implications as he's trying to come up with the resolution. Okay, and we'll let you know. Okay, so that step has to happen. Yep. We're trying to get this one resolved. Yeah,
Well, you're only 17 now.
I know exactly. It's been a few years. Go ahead.
Well, you're welcome to come to my house anytime. If we're not there, just go through the gate. We'll see it.
Microphone so they can hear you. Let's just lower it. There you go.
It's because I'm.
It's fine. It's because the last
I
person
know.
was too tall. That's all.
You're welcome to come to our house anytime. If we're not there, just go through the gate. You have our permission. Joe has been there. I would say 3 years ago. I had the previous mayor and Joe and
Anne Marie Townsend.
Anne Marie Townsend come and see our alley.
Okay.
And so, you know, that's that's happened. But anyway, I have a question that if the city did not vacate, where does that leave us?
Interior or exterior?
In exterior.
Exterior, if we did
Exterior.
not vacate.
Yes.
Alex, go ahead through that. That's the scenarios.
So I think the short answer is it just leads to more uncertainty.
Mhm.
The recircle is almost 100 years old, and maybe in 100 years from now, we could be having the same conversation about what to do and who owns what. And for example, your shed issue could persist until then.
Yeah, yeah.
Perpetuity.
And I think that's, we're not voting today, but to answer that, council doesn't want this to persist. We
Okay.
want to get this resolved for all of you, but also for us too. We got a lot of things we need to work on. Let's get this one addressed. It sounds to me like we'd have to have another meeting because after that walkabout, we actually have to bring you back. But we bring you back with a clear, like, okay, we've done the additional research. Here's our full proposal. Okay, so then that would be our recommendation, hearing back from you, and then it would have to go to council for a vote. Okay, so there's steps in this process, but it's not like since you've been 15. Okay, we're gonna get this solved.
Yeah.
You're about ready for a resolution and you want to get your shed in, you want to be able to get to your driveways and your
The other
garages.
part of my question is, do we have a timeline?
Uh, Soon, so let's talk about that. All right, so how soon is reasonable? I'll give the first step of that is the actual walking around. What would you look at, Ellen Lorraine? Not the date, but I mean, are we talking about a week, 2 weeks, a month?
I think it's going to be in December by the
Okay.
time we can coordinate schedules with the engineer and with the city solicitor. So I anticipate likely the second week in December
Okay,
before we can do the walkthrough, and then we will report back.
okay. And then you need time to analyze that. And so will the engineer. So we're looking at a January
Hmm.
public meeting.
I
some
would say
point
that's reasonable, yes.
Mid-January, something like that? Okay. And then let's say we all agree to what we're going to do. Then it goes to council for the recommendation and a vote. And then it moves over to you, Alex, and you start addressing the court to start with the interior, I assume first, right? Okay. Now, let me ask you on timeline, if we're in pretty much agreement on the interior, why don't we move that one forward? In other words, because that's still going to take 3 to 5 months with the court process. So that step would be if council would, if we put this on our agenda for our December council meeting
For a vote.
for a vote about taking the full claim to the T, the inner, then we could start that process. Okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Report for that, if you already own it.
Alex, why do we have to go to court for?
So because it's contested, there are quitclaim deeds out there saying someone else owns it. Potentially that person could convey those ownership
Are you
interests.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He's claimed the interior of it as
Yes.
well.
So we just want to get that. So just like you all, we want to get that cleaned up and on the record too. But I'm glad you asked the question. Yeah. Okay, so that one we can move. The other one is the schedule I think we described, so we can start to do that. Okay, so that means it goes on the council agenda for December. Okay. And Alex, you would write up a resolution for us. Okay. Other comments?
I had a question.
Sure.
I
And then
asked-
Sharon will get to you.
I had asked Kirill, you don't have an HOA, do you? No, okay. I just wondered if they had planned an HOA.
He's asking if you have an HOA.
But you don't have an
Yeah.
HOA.
I wondered if you had an HOA.
Okay. Ashley, can you up to Sharon? She has a. It's the people online. You cannot hear when you're online unless you're in a microphone. Sorry.
Anybody just said, Alex, what will it take to make it go away? Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. No.
So. I'll but he's filed for bankruptcy. So, the point here. Is that, so the bottom line is, he lays claim to the court's going to do.
Yeah. I think the process we're looking at is a safer legal process for the city and for all of you. Interesting question though, and we'll take that into consideration privately. But I think what we're laying out is a legal documented audit trail so that you and whoever you sell your properties to or your heirs don't ever have to go through this process again. Okay, other comments? Anybody online with comments? Okay. And because this is, there's somebody, okay. Leanne Wilkinson. Okay, Leanne, we're going to open up your mic so you can speak. Go ahead, Leanne. It's still muted, Blue.
Yeah. Is it muted on her end?
It's muted. So Leanne, you're muted on your end. If you can unmute, we have unmuted you. If you can unmute. Okay, so Leanne, you can also email us your comments. And we did also receive a comment from Brooke Hedges. I just want to note for the record. That also was given to us. Okay, Leanne, last call if you want to speak. Mic's open. Okay. All right, so this is a public meeting, as I said, not a hearing. So now officially I'll open up for any official public comments, any additional comments that you have to do name, address, and you would be put on a clock. If anybody wants anything else to say. If not, no. Okay, I just want to make a comment of how thankful we are that you all showed up. This council wants to make collaborative, common sense decisions, and we want to make it directly with our citizens where we can. It's still our decision as your elected officials, but the fact is we'll make better decisions because of your participation. I really mean that sincerely. Thank you all for coming out. And Leanne is open.
Somebody else.
And someone else. Oh, she's coming in. Okay, Leanne, we're going to let you speak. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Can. Go right ahead.
Sorry, I'm the worst at technology. Beth knows that. So I just want to say, I really hope that you guys can figure something out here, because I have been dealing with the debris circle alleys for 40 years. So it would be really nice if you could figure out, and I don't think it's like a one fix. The people in the middle probably don't want their alleys to be, they want to continue to have their alley so they can pull into the back of their house. And the people like on the Welcome Alley side, need to be able to get to their garage. So I don't think there is an easy fix for everything, but I do hope that now that everybody's sitting there in that room, that you guys can really make this go away. So it's not going to be easy, I'm sure, but hopefully you can.
Thank you, Leanne. Anyone else online? Not. Okay. Thank you very much. I need a motion to close this public input session.
So moved.
All right, second. All right. Thank you again, everyone.